Hi guys, today we're going to briefly talk about why we edit photos in photography. So our objective is to show understanding of why editing photos for personal vision is an important step in creating a photograph. So I get this question all the time. Do I have to edit my photos? Yes, you have to edit your photos. We're editing our photos because we're looking to enhance and elevate our images. So this is the original image. This is not my image, but this is the original. This is the edited version. So you can see there's a lot of difference in color, a little bit of clarity, and it looks completely different. So it's also up to you to edit the photo to show the viewer your vision in your own artwork. So it's really important. So before digital, we edited photos in the darkroom, and this is my darkroom at Southeast High School that I had for 8 years. So we were developing and printing negatives in the darkroom. So on the top up here is a set of negatives, and those negatives would turn into a positive in the darkroom. And then once you chose one of the images to print in the enlarger, you would have to make all these edits by hand. So adding light to one area, taking away light from another, putting filters in to add contrast. So it's the same thing as what we're doing in an editing program. So we were taking negatives and turning them into positive images, adjusting the light and contrast, and then thinking about how that image that comes right out of your camera is still this negative that we need to develop. And we do that with our editing tools. But a lot of people will be like, my pic looks fine, Miss G. It looks fine right now. There are purists who are like, if you get it right in camera, you don't need to edit anything. Of course you need to get it right in the camera. However, your vision is going to be different than what the camera sees and records. The camera can only record so much on that sensor. So it's a tool, like a paintbrush or a pencil. You're not quite done yet. When you're doing a drawing or a painting, you don't just do one layer and you're done. You still need to adjust the result from the camera to take an image from good to great. So you want to try to get as close as possible in the camera with your exposure settings. You don't want to have to do so much editing in your image because you don't know how to use your camera properly. So you want to expose it properly, but you're going to use your editing to fine-tune your image. So you're going to, again, take it from good to great. So here is a really good example, one of my favorite examples. So this is work by Ansel Adams. He's a really world-famous landscape photographer. So on the left, right here, this was his image just printed straight, no edits in the darkroom at all. And then on the right is how he manipulated it in the darkroom, so with his editing tools. So you can see the differences. The sky's darker, the moon's a little more ominous with those clouds. It just has a completely different feel than the one on the left. And he was known to spend up to 8 hours working on just one photograph, editing one image before releasing it to the public. So as chemicals improved in darkroom processes and his skills got better, he would go back and reprocess his images again and again and making them look a little bit different, tweaking them to better match his vision. So you can see the one from 1941 to 1943, 1962, 1975. So he got a lot better at creating a higher amount of contrast, so a lot of really darks, a lot of really lights, and then increasing the detail. So he made over 1,300 prints of this image over the course of his career. So he never let it go. He just kept editing it and editing it to try to match what he saw that day. So when you're editing, they don't have to be drastic. Just little tweaks here and there to just make something good a little bit better. Unless you want it to be drastic. Again, it's your vision. Maybe you want to do some serious cropping or some editing to someone's hair color or something like that. You can do those things if that's your vision, but they don't have to be drastic. This is just a little bit of editing of contrast and exposure and maybe a little bit of color. And that's it. So this probably didn't take too long to edit. But the one on the left is kind of dingy. It doesn't really have a brightness in the sky, which now it really brings me into the image. It's a lot better image on the right. So again, when you're editing, how do you want the viewer to feel? How do you want to show the viewer your vision or story? So not that the one on the left is bad. Maybe that is the way you wanted to show, with the darker sky. But on the right, we've added in more color. We've enhanced that sky a little bit. So it's up to you to decide how much editing you want to do for your image. So I want you to check off your notes with me first. Then you're going to move on to the next video, and it's going to be editing images, so a how-to. So as you're learning how to use all these tools to edit your images, I want you to be thinking about what is your personal workflow. What are the tools that you're going to use over and over again? What is your style? What kind of tools is something that you're going to immediately, all right, I'm going to do a crop. I like this type of crop. I immediately like to do this kind of edit. I always like to do black and white. So as you're going along, I want you to figure out what is your style and what is your workflow. So what order are you going to do your edits? All right, if you have any questions, please ask. Good job, guys.